What if I told you that Chevrolet once built an engine so powerful, NASCAR tried to bury it? An engine so radical, so unpredictable, that Chevy had to lie about its horsepower just to keep it legal. They called it the Porcupine. And for decades they said it was gone, banned, dismantled, erased from history. But what if it never really died? What if, deep in the shadows of Detroit's machine shops, this beast was rebuilt? This is the untold story of the Chevrolet 396 Porcupine Engine, the banned big block that refused to die. It's the mid-1960s. Detroit isn't just building cars, it's building weapons. Every company is locked in a war for horsepower dominance. Ford, Chrysler, Pontiac, Dodge, everyone's swinging for the fences. And Chevrolet? They're in the fight of their life. After GM's infamous 1963 corporate racing ban, Chevy's engineers were ordered to shut down all racing development. No test cars, no experimental engines, no exceptions. To the public, Chevrolet was done with racing. But behind those factory walls, the story was very, very different. Inside the dim corners of Chevrolet's engineering headquarters, a few rebellious minds refused to surrender. As the flames of destroyed blueprints lit up the night, one engineer quietly tucked away a set of plans. It was a design so wild, so unconventional, that it defied everything Detroit knew about power. That blueprint would become the heart of a legend. The 396 Porcupine, an engine born not from corporate orders, but from rebellion. By 1965, the beast was ready. Chevrolet unleashed the 396 cubic inch V8, a masterpiece that redefined the word performance. It was part of a new family of engines called the Mark IV Big Blocks. But under the surface, it carried something far more sinister. The DNA of a forbidden creation, the 427 mystery motor. That earlier 427 had terrified Ford and Chrysler on the NASCAR circuit. It was too fast, too advanced, and too secret. When NASCAR caught wind of it, they slammed the door shut, banning prototypes that weren't available in production cars. Chevrolet's racing dreams died overnight, or so it seemed. The new 396 carried the soul of that outlawed 427. It had canted valves, huge rectangular ports, and a combustion chamber design that looked nothing like any other engine of its time. Pop the valve covers and you'd see a forest of angled rockers pointing in every direction, like spikes on a wild animal. That's where it earned its name, the Porcupine. It didn't just look mean, it was mean. This engine didn't purr, it howled. Chevrolet released 3 versions of the 396, the mild L35, the mid-level L37, and the untamed L78. And the L78? That was the one that made men legends. 425 horsepower, 11.1 compression, a solid lifter camshaft that made the idle sound like an earthquake on caffeine. This thing could scream to 6,400 RPM and keep going like it was begging for punishment. You could find it inside the Chevelle SS Z16, the El Camino, the Impala, and even the Corvette. But only a few thousand ever made it out into the world. And those lucky enough to drive one said the same thing. It didn't just move you, it teleported you. The moment the 396 hit the streets, whispers began echoing through the racing world. Chevy's got a banned engine, they said. NASCAR outlawed it before it even hit the track. And honestly, it wasn't far from the truth. NASCAR's rulebook back then was strict. If it didn't come in a production car, it couldn't touch the track. Chevrolet had already broken that rule once with the 427 mystery motor, a top-secret engine that dominated tests but never made it to showrooms. So when news broke that Chevy was working on another high-performance variant, the 396, NASCAR didn't need to write anything down. Unofficially, the message was clear: don't even try it. There was never a formal written ban on the 396, but in the political world of racing, that didn't matter. Between GM's corporate racing ban, NASCAR's rulebook, and Ford's behind-the-scenes lobbying, the Porcupine was dead on arrival. At least that's what they thought. Instead of giving up, Chevrolet pivoted. If the 396 couldn't dominate on the racetrack, it would conquer the streets. And oh, it did. On paper, Chevy claimed the L78 made 375 horsepower, but dyno tests told a different story. 425, sometimes 430, even 450. The numbers didn't lie, but Chevrolet did. Why? Insurance. In the muscle car era, insurance companies were watching every move. The more horsepower your car had, the higher your premium went. So Chevy played it smart. They quietly underrated their engines. Internally, they called it corporate camouflage. Publicly, it was 375 horsepower. Privately, it was a street-legal missile. Behind the wheel, the 396 felt alive, violent, loud, and proud. Drag racers adored it. They said it could take on 427 Fords and even give Chrysler's Hemis a serious fight. It was overbuilt, under-advertised, and absolutely unkillable. The Porcupine didn't just win races, it earned respect. But every legend faces its sunset. By 1966, Chevrolet had their sights set higher. The 427 and later the monstrous 454 were taking center stage. The 396 became the forgotten son, overshadowed but never erased. Yet its legacy was carved into the metal of every big block that followed. From the Chevelle SS to the Corvette Stingray, from the drag strips of California to the garages of Middle America, the spirit of the 396 never stopped breathing. The technology it birthed, the valve geometry, the combustion design, the brutal torque curve, it all came from those secret blueprints that were supposed to burn in 1963. And when the legendary 454 arrived in 1970, you could still hear the ghost of the Porcupine roaring in every rev. Decades later, the 396 became a collector's dream, not because of its numbers, but because of its story. It represented defiance, ingenuity, the refusal to follow orders. Every 396 engine was a piece of outlaw history, built by rebels who believed horsepower was worth fighting for. And today, somewhere in a quiet American garage, that legacy still lives. A mechanic tightens the bolts on a gleaming 396 block. A collector wipes down a valve cover that still bears the scars of drag strip battles. And a kid, hearing that deep, thunderous idle for the first time, gets chills running down his arms. The Porcupine isn't just metal and oil, it's attitude, it's rebellion. It's the sound of a nation obsessed with power, speed, and freedom. It's the heartbeat of a generation that refused to slow down. So the next time you hear that unmistakable big block roar, remember this story. Remember the 396, the engine that was banned, buried, and brought back from the dead. Because legends like this, they don't fade, they evolve. If you love stories like this, tales of hidden engines, lost blueprints, and the men who risked everything for speed, hit that like button. Drop a comment below with your favorite Chevrolet power plant. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time we're cracking open GM's secret archives, and what's hiding inside will blow your mind.